Hello, welcome to my watercolour channel. My name is Carrie and today I'm just going to do a loose, easy abstract. Intuitive as well. I'm not going to plan anything. Having said that, I'm going to plan the colours first of all. I fancy using this Chinese orange with, oh, isn't that lovely, with contrasting with cerulean blue. It's this one, yes, cobalt turquoise. It's a beautiful colour. So I'm going to use that. And of course they're opposite, more or less opposite each other on the colour wheel. So I'll be interested to see how they mix. Brush clean. Some cerulean turquoise. Cobalt turquoise. I do love cobalt blue at the best of times. Right. And so this goes. See how beautiful they will be together? Lovely. And now I'm going to mix the two together and see what we get. Right, so we'll have a little bit of the cobalt turquoise. And then we'll add a little bit of the Chinese orange and mix them together, and it's going to make a lovely dirty brown in the middle. Gorgeous. Love it. Love it. So, let's get started. So I'm just going to put some colour down. Now I'm going to work in shapes. I think I'm going to use a bigger brush, to be honest. Shall I wet the page first of all? I think I will. Right, I'm going to get the Harkey brush and give it a good old wet. Now I'm working on inexpensive Bockingford paper because this is a little sketchbook I made just to try out things. Fluff on it. I'm just going to wet this lightly. I don't want to get it sopping wet, and I'm going to let it dry a little bit before I carry on. I'm going to make some shapes and then I'm going to work in them. So we'll start with the cobalt turquoise, and I'm going to go light at first and get darker later. So I'm just going to make some marks on the page. Okay, so I've zoomed in a little bit more. I was initially trying to include all of the palettes so you could see it. But now what I'm going to do is I've got a stencil. I make these stencils and I sell them at my Etsy shop. This flower one is doing really well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay that down, and with the magic eraser, which is a sponge that's kind of abrasive, I'm going to try to lift off some of the colour. So I'm going to need some tissue, get some soft tissue. Now I'm working on Bockingford paper. It isn't really happy with doing lift-offs, but that's okay. We'll just do a little bit. I think I'd like it up in this corner. So what you do is you sort of, oops, too much moisture. Let's get some of the moisture out. Yes, I had way too much moisture in that. Oh dear. All right, so you just rub off paint. I can see it peeling. I don't know if it's the sponge or the paper. There we go. Look, you can see the what's left behind. You don't have to use this. You can just use a baby wipe or any sponge. There. Look at the bits though. Ugh, yucky. That is the sponge. There we go. Right, I'll let that dry. And now I've got out my Inktense pencils. I'm going to do some doodling. I want to create a little plant up like that. And I'm going to have some little leaves. I did this on another doodle page and I really liked it, so let's do another one. Coming up a little bit shorter, this one though. Just going to have 2 leaves on the top. And the beautiful thing is about the Inktense is they slightly bleed when wet, which I rather like. And we'll have a third one because I prefer to work in 3s. Now, I say that, I did that in 2s. That's because I'm balancing the page there. You don't have to put them all over the page to get balanced. But when you're doing a grouping, 3s and 5s and 7s, odd numbers always work better. The paints I'm using are Winsor & Newton, mostly, with the odd 1 or 2 others thrown in. But it is generally Winsor & Newton because I've been using them for a long time and I've gradually built up my palette over the years. And we're talking decades actually. So I haven't had a huge expenditure all at once. It's just been very gradual. And Winsor & Newton are a reasonable price over here and I've always liked their quality. I wonder if this will show up. I'll try to see. I'm going to do a line going across. How should we do this? Yes, we'll go up there. Like that. It does show up. That's good. And lovely. What am I going to do in that? I'm going to do some of the darker in that. I should do some down here as well, but I'm going to go. Now I'm going to come in with some of the darker orange into these areas. I think I might vary the colour, but I think I would like it to be quite dense. Which really is a beautiful orange. It's very transparent, which something like burnt sienna isn't. Although it's very, very similar to burnt sienna. If you mix the cadmiums, they're so opaque. And quite chalky in my opinion. This is so translucent and smooth, it's lovely. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little bit of light spattering around this area and around these areas, so around the leaves basically. Not a huge amount, and I'm going to do it with the turquoise. Let's hope I can do this nicely. Right. Yeah, that's lovely. A little bit around these. Just gives them a bit of life. Lovely. At the end I'm going to finish off with some white. And now I'm going to do some doodling with pens. I've got a Posca 0.7mm that makes some nice light lines. I've got a medium 0.7 Faber-Castell Pitt pen, and I've got the extra small. So I'm going to have a variety of lines. I'm going to draw around these, and I'm very undecided whether to do it with white or with black. I think I'm going to use the black, and I'm going to use the fine black. And I'm going to do it loosely as well. I was wondering whether to do some stamping. I think I will. Got my French stamp, and I think a little bit of it there would be quite nice. So I'm just going to use the Stays On Midnight Blue, and I like to use Stays On because it stays on. And I'm not going to put too much ink on. Not brilliant, is it? Never mind. These are my Schminker paints, and these on the bottom rows are iridescents, which would be quite nice to use. I'm also going to splatter with some gold. I'm going to get that wet. Of course, I'm looking at the pink, because I always look at the pink. What about this coral colour? Paint swatch. See what will go with it. That's quite pretty. It's going to be actually against that. Let's see, I don't know, it's too... What about the yellow? That's pretty. Oh, it's going to be that. Yeah, baby. We're going to go for the yellow. That is speaking to me. Right, there we go. Now I'm going to do some gold splatters and some white splatters, and that's going to tie everything together. When I say gold, I don't mean that yellow. I mean one of these. Now I've got this warm yellow, so I think we'll go with the warm yellow. I'll give it a nice glisten. I want to do it around the area where I've painted the gold. And now I'm going to do some white. Now, which white am I going to use? I usually use the gouache. Now, what am I going to do with this, you may ask? I actually probably will cut it up as thank you cards when I send out orders from my Etsy shop. And when people buy a few stencils, I like to give them personal thank you. And if I make a little card out of these, I'll be very happy. So here we are. Let's zoom in to the painting. Oh, I went the right way. That makes a change. Isn't that good? I love it. Love it. That was good fun as well. You can see the glisten when I do that. I hope you enjoyed watching this painting. I very much enjoyed doing it. If you're new here, please subscribe. As well as the abstract type, doodly type paintings, I do ordinary paintings. Usually quite often florals. But I do like to draw faces, so I'll probably introduce some of those. Oh, and landscape. I quite like doing that. I like it all, to be honest. Let's face it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Bye.